Hello, everyone. I'm so glad you're here today. Welcome to Shine My Crown, getting rid of mental clutter. So let's take this time to focus on ourselves, reflect, and lighten the mental load you might have been carrying. Just like tidying up a messy room, clearing our minds can help us find clarity and energy to focus on the things that truly matter. Today, we're going to explore practical, simple ways to declutter our mind that may be quite familiar to you. So, it's embracing self doubt as a stepping stone. And we're going to create our own ways in which we can connect to quietening the mental chatter. That we have this time to inspire and uplift us. So I am very open if you're interested to share comments on what has helped you to declutter and what you do to shine your own crown. That there is no one way to eliminate our mental clutter. That might come in the form of negative emotions or self doubt from our lives, but we can share and find tools to support and nudge ourselves emotionally when needed. So, learning to manage our self talk, our difficult emotions, and mental load won't just improve our well being, it will also benefit those around us. So, let's practice these techniques in situations like today, our everyday moments, so that when life gets challenging, we're ready, that we have tools that we've already tried out and we know how effective they are for us. So, my goal is for us to leave this session feeling lighter, possibly empowered, and ready to shine our crowns. So, feel free to comment and leave messages in the comment box anytime that you're in a safe environment with your Connect with Quest crowd. So let's start with a little reflection. What's one thought that may have been on repeat in your mind lately? Don't be concerned if it's worry or self-doubt, that this is a safe place at Quest, that I'll go first, that soon I'll be stepping into a new role. And when we go into the unknown, our mind tends to catastrophize, that we come up with all the possible situations that might not ever happen. But I have been in this mental chatter for a few days now. So, the way in which I've been changing my point of view is to give myself like a mantra where I'm saying, each day I am learning more and more. So this has been helping me that in a new role, you're a novice, you're starting out in an area that's not well known to you. So I'm learning more and more each day. Now your turn. Feel free to write it down in your own journal or a piece of paper in front of you, or if you're comfortable to share it online. So we should start with understanding, what do we mean by mental clutter? So mental clutter is that noisy chatter in our heads, that constant talking, that it can be overwhelming. It can accumulate. All of our thoughts, our worries, our distractions, and unresolved emotions that take up mental space, making it difficult to focus and make decisions or feel at peace. Does it sound familiar? Don't worry, we all deal with it. Did you know that we have around 60,000 thoughts a day? That's a lot. And many of those thoughts are just on replay, like I'm not good enough, or what if I fail? It's exhausting. So the common forms of mental clutter are overthinking, replaying past mistakes, or worrying about the future, unfinished tasks, the weight of a never-ending to-do list, and our negative self-talk, that we can be a harsh inner critic and allow a lot of self-doubt to seep through. That we could have an information overload where we're scrolling through media and social media and it's become a constant consumption. Or it might be emotional baggage, holding on to the past hurts or grudges. And with all of this overwhelm, all of this clutter, that we can become indecisive and that we can become fearful of making the wrong choice. Any of this ring true to you? That we can be stunned by perfectionism, to be perfect at everything, feeling the pressure to meet unrealistic standards. So all of this can have a huge impact on us. Do you ever feel like your brain is running 100 tabs all at once? That's mental clutter. It affects focus, increases our stress, and makes it difficult to be present in the moment. It's all those unfinished thoughts, worries, all piling up in your mind. And it can impact you in so many different ways. That when our mind feels like a mess and too many tabs open, that it can mess with our focus. When our mind is on overload, it's harder to concentrate, to make decisions, or even to remember simple things. That I find when I start to go on overload, I lose things such as my keys, or I put something down in peculiar places and spend time searching for it. And it's like trying to find a file on a super messy desk, that everything becomes that little bit more distracting, frustrating, and exhausting. And you find that it starts to crank up the stress level. So a cluttered mind keeps you in a constant state of tension, making it really difficult and tough to relax. And with that build-up of extra strain and constant state of tension, that over time it can lead to burnout, that it can increase anxiety and can even affect your sleep, where too many tabs are open and it feels that we can't close them down. But here's the good news. By clearing the clutter, we create space. We create space for joy, for focus, and for growth. And if your mind feels like a messy room, here's a few ways to tidy it. That these are just a suggestion, that they may be things that you have already been doing, or someone may have already suggested it to you. So take this as a refresher or an insight that if you wish to try, they're there for you. So one is a brain dump or a worry diary. So if you were to grab a notebook or even write it on your phone, everything swirling around in your head. So spend 5-10 minutes of just writing anything and everything that goes along with your thought process, or your worries or your fears, the tasks ahead, random thoughts, just getting them out of your mind. So this takes away the swirl of these thoughts, these worries swimming around in your head. So it makes space for clarity. Another technique, which I know that we share often on Connect and also Quest for Life programs, is to slow down the breathing, to take some slow and deep breaths. A few slow, deep breaths can calm your nervous system and bring you back to the present moment. that if you try inhaling for 4 seconds, holding for 4 seconds, and exhaling for 6, to just notice how this feels for you, that we can do it together now if you'd like to. Breathing in for 4, hold for 4, breathing out for 6. Let's try again. Breathing in for 4, hold for 4, breathing out for 6. Beautiful. Another way is prioritizing and not to multitask, just to focus on one thing at a time. That multitasking might feel productive, but it actually drains more mental energy. That the brain can't do 2 things at once, even though it feels like we can. It's not as efficient as just focusing on one thing, that the brain can go into overwhelm. The other suggestion is to move your body. Whether it's a walk, a yoga class, or yoga movements, or gentle stretching. That movement helps clear mental fog and it resets your mind. Just connecting with the tension in your body, recognizing it, being aware of the tension, that when we move gently and move mindfully with care, that it's centering on the present moment, because our body lives in the present moment. It also centers on self-care and recognizing that happy hormones are released when we move, that motion is lotion. Another form of tool is to set boundaries with technology. That sometimes there's too much time spent on screens, and it adds up and it adds to our mental clutter. That you might try a mini detox, a mini digital detox, to turn off notifications or take a break from social media, or putting on an app that actually alerts you of how long you have been on and suggesting to put the phone down, or put your phone away in another room. Even a few moments where you bring the sense of downtime, prioritizing your mental clutter and trying to bring into the present moment will feel a whole lot better for you. And to even practice mindfulness, just a few minutes of mindfulness or meditation can help declutter your thoughts and improve your focus. And that brings us to coming to your senses. That it's a practice at Quest that you more than likely are familiar with. So I'd love for you to join me. And it's one of the best ways to settle our troubled minds. So it is literally coming back to our senses, back to an awareness of our sense of smell, our sight, our hearing, taste, and physical touch. What if the reason we become so stressed and strung out with our mental clutter that we are too much in our heads and not enough in our bodies? That we experience so much of our world through our senses, the touch, the taste, the sight, the sound and smell, and our emotions are deeply connected to our sensory experience. So often, these sensory experience and emotions are below our conscious awareness. And if we want to shift our mental clutter, we can deliberately add a sensory experience to shift us in a different direction. So with me now, if you'd like to, let's delight ourselves back to our senses. Let's begin by starting to come back to our senses and practice And I invite you to find a comfortable position that you might choose to take 3 deep breaths. You might like to count in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 6. And on your last exhale, just gently close your eyes. Soften your facial muscles, your forehead, cheeks and jaw, and allow a soft smile to form at the corners of your lips. I invite you to settle into comfort without changing your posture or breathing. Just be here as you are. Simply arrive in the present moment. This practice is about noticing, about becoming fully aware of everything unfolding in the present moment. Connect with your body, paying attention to your posture, the support beneath you, and the points of contact where your skin touches the surface of your chair or your bed. Notice the sensations and turn your attention to the temperature. Is your skin cool or warm? Notice how the fabric of the clothes that you're wearing, feeling it against you, how it shifts when you breathe. Let yourself fully experience these sensations without needing to alter them. And now shift your attention to your sense of smell. Is there an aroma in the air? Do you notice any lingering tastes? And observe how taste and smell interact, creating a unique sensory experience. How your nose inhales and processes these scents and tastes. Simply observe these sensations without judgment or desire to change them. And now, if you've chosen to keep your eyes open, or if you've chosen to rest your eyes closed, just noticing the colours, the textures, the lights and shadows, exploring the images behind your lids, or noticing with a soft gaze what's in your peripheral vision. Relax the muscles around your eyes, temples and jaw. Finally, listen to the sounds around you. Distant traffic, the rustle of leaves, the creak of your chair, the distant sounds of crickets. Let your ears explore both the far off and the immediate. And now let's bring our focus to the breath. Feel the coolness of the air entering your nostrils, the warmth of each exhale. Notice the rise and fall of your belly and the stillness between breaths as we bring this practice to a close. Noticing the rhythm of your breath, and slowly begin to bring your awareness to the present moment. Feel the surface beneath you, the weight of your body, and the natural rhythm of your breath. As you deepen your breathing, just directing each inhale to your belly to become fuller, and each exhale to release any tension. Just breathing in gently breathing out softly. That you might invite small movements into your body, like wiggling your fingers and toes. That you might roll your shoulders and stretch your neck. And when you're ready, if you haven't already, open your eyes and softly adjust to the light. Just take 3 deep breaths, inhaling fully and exhaling slowly, and setting an intention to notice this sense of presence and calm, possibly decluttering, and shining your crown. So hold this awareness, the sights, the smells, the taste, the touch, sound, and breath. And let it guide us towards more of a compassionate self, being more present, and possibly bringing this awakened awareness into all your activities and connections. That one of the things that coming to our senses or meditation gives us, it gives us the capacity to witness the feelings that we're having rather than label ourselves as the feelings. So as we felt our breath, that we aren't breath, that we felt the support underneath us, but we aren't the support underneath us. And we felt the coolness against our skin. So when we meditate, what we're endeavoring to do is we're imagining or we're endeavoring to keep our awareness of a larger perspective. And when we have this larger perspective and a calm clarity in the present moment that is there all the time, that we're being present moment by moment, and when there's thoughts or feelings or sensations, they come into our awareness and we have the capacity to witness them and then let them go. That we have the capacity to notice our sight and then we shift to our smell. That we can notice these things and then let them go, rather than getting caught up in them. That we often get caught up in our own thoughts about the future, about fretting what might happen, could happen, probably won't happen. Or we get caught up in thoughts around the past, like I should have, I could have, why didn't I? There's also resenting and blaming, shaming and being bitter about the past. And either of those, we lose out on the present. That our mind is very good at ruminating, catastrophizing, being stuck in the past. It's also fantastic at trying to predict or plan for the future. So what meditation does, it gives us the ability to witness ourselves having the feeling, having the thought, rather than labeling ourselves as that feeling or as that thought. So I find that there are 3 simple steps to go through. The first is to identify the feeling. So I'm feeling overwhelmed, or whatever you can identify what the feeling is that you're experiencing. So labeling it. The second step, and this is the one that can be challenging, is we give ourselves permission to feel that way. That without judgment and just acknowledging, I feel like this. I am having this thought. And the third step is to feel it with awareness. And this is how feeling, acknowledging the feeling and saying it's okay for me to feel this. So how feeling this feeling feels for me. Rather than, I shouldn't be feeling like this. I don't want to feel like this. Or because you're always feeling this, that it feels overwhelmed because here it is again. I'm feeling this way again. So feelings are always a true indicator of your experience, that we feel things and then think. So the thinking, the feeling, they're all together. Chicken or egg comes first. But the capacity to witness ourselves experiencing a thought, a feeling, rather than labeling ourselves as the feeling, as the thought. And to keep in mind some of the teachings of Quest for Life, that you're not responsible for what you're feeling. You are responsible for what you do with the feeling, how you respond, how you react. That it's fine to feel any feeling, it's fine to have any thought. And can you see how that shift can change your perspective? That your awareness of skillfully stepping back and noticing that the skillful ways of being with these feelings is to witness them, acknowledge them. And gradually you'll find that this skill becomes innate, that we're not even thinking of it, that we move in and out of thoughts and feelings, and knowing that they're feelings, knowing that they're just thoughts, and knowing that they're always shifting, that our thoughts come and go, our feelings come and go, that it's the focus or the response that we give to them. So the next part that I'd love to talk about is self-doubt. That our self-talk and our self-doubt is a hidden opportunity. That most of us don't talk about self-doubt. So it's easy to think we're the only ones feeling unsure. That this mental clutter is our own. That it's our own burden, no one else would understand. But the person next to you would probably be experiencing self-doubt as well. But guess what? Self-doubt is completely normal and it can be helpful. How can self-doubt be helpful? A little self-doubt can push us to try harder. A little self-doubt acknowledges our feelings and it might create an opportunity to refine our skills. And with refining our skills, that we grow. So instead of seeing self-doubt as a weakness, that we might be able to reframe with our mental clutter clean out as we shine our crown, and reframe it as a stepping stone. Instead of, I can't do this, maybe ask, how can I use this to improve? Similar to my example that I'm learning more and more each day. That we can challenge negative self-doubt, that we can challenge it with what evidence supports this thought or what evidence refutes it, that we can shift our perspective in how else could I look at this right now. And the key to decluttering self-doubt is to acknowledge your self-doubt without letting it define you. Can we respond to self-doubt in a way that we know it's coming along for the ride? We know it's there. And that you can actually turn it into an advantage, where the self-doubt could be acknowledged. Yes, I am aware in my new role that things are going to feel a little bit clunky. How do I prepare? Could I research things more? Could I ask for help from people that know more than me? Can I turn it into an advantage in some way? Can we learn to embrace our self-doubt rather than fight it? That we acknowledge self-doubt without believing it as a fact. And challenging this and reframing can set up a new experience, that it can help us alter our perspective and tone down our emotional reactivity. To reframe a situation, we often need to look at it from a different vantage point, so we can shift our thoughts. So another way in which we can shift and move and shake our mental clutter, and to give ourselves the time to shine our crown, is that we can change the environment, our outer circumstances. So in a sense of overwhelm, such as an example that I was using a new computer program. And as I'm using this new computer program, I found it was doing exactly what I didn't want it to do. And I started to feel the mental clutter of, I'm useless, I can't do this, what am I doing wrong? I decided that I would stand up and change my environment. So I stood up, I went into the bathroom, I put my hair up because I could feel my body temperature going up. I could feel the state of being overwhelmed, and I went outside. And I noticed if I had stayed in the same environment, it would have affected my emotions even more, and my mental clutter, my mental self-talk and self-doubt would have got more overwhelmed. And this works both directly and indirectly, that as I'm stepping outside, I'm getting sunshine, I'm getting a new environment, and I'm deliberately changing my focus point. So learning these different ways can affect our emotional reactions in a positive way. I felt more positive when I returned to the computer. So another thought or another tip might be, in an area or an environment that, let's say a workplace, that might be taxing you or challenging you or draining you, that can we change the environment in the way of identifying things that can spark change for the better, change that can support you. So what I mean by that is, in a work situation, that more than likely there's patterns, there's ways in which we function throughout the day. Can we shift some of that pattern so that the mental clutter of feeling overwhelmed or having negative thoughts is shifted slightly, such as you take a different way to get a coffee. So you're ending at the same cafe, but you're taking a different route to get to the cafe. If you have a formula of I do this, do that, and then do this, can you do the tasks and then give yourself a boost in the sense of a reward, something that you could have put in place? If I get this, this, and this done, I have this prioritized reward for me. So identifying these things that can spark change and support you. Could you add things to your space that soothe you? Like a nice photo of a loved one or a beautiful flowering plant that sits on your desk. That these tips and tricks of changing environments, you could move out of the environment, or if you aren't able to move out of the environment, can you change the patterns or the scenery in what you're in? So sometimes breaking these patterns can break negative thought loops as well. That sometimes you can catch yourself stuck on the same worry, like a song on repeat. That we can flip the script sometimes, such as changing patterns, changing our routines, and change things in a way that some of the suggestions that we've shared now, can I do this? Can I actually change the scenery? Or can I change the environment? And instead of saying, I can't do it, maybe I'll give it a shot. I'll give it my best shot. That we can challenge our negative thinking. So each time that you challenge and you prove yourself wrong, your brain starts to shift. And that loop of thoughts can be put on pause. So we can challenge our self-doubt. And the best way to deal with self-doubt is to challenge your negative thinking straight on. Each time you prove your brain that you're more capable and you're more competent and that you flip the script, your brain will start to view things in a slightly different light. So constantly challenging your self-doubt, challenging your mental clutter will change the way you think. That you do need courage and you do need confidence to take action. So the next time your brain questions your ability to succeed, or if your brain questions your ability on your self-worth, or so many worries that your brain starts to present, could we simply say, challenge accepted? I understand what this is. I understand this is self-doubt. I understand this is how I'm feeling right now. I acknowledge, and with awareness, I notice, without judgment, and possibly be willing to prove yourself wrong and acknowledge that your brain isn't always right. So that we can shift from worry possibly to problem solving. Instead of imagining your worst case scenario, maybe focus on what you can control. Maybe ask, what's one step I can take right now? Or break the challenges into small manageable steps to reduce that mental clutter, that overwhelm. If it's a problem that can be solved, working on changing the environment. If there's nothing you can do to fix the problem, that possibly we can set about some self-care and work on changing your mindset. That even if you can't solve the problem, such as you can't fix a loved one's health issue, that you might choose to do something to make your life or someone else's life a little better and shine their crown. And in doing so, it shifts the focus, it shifts the worry, that it just allows a slight reframe of the situation. That you might have heard of the term a pity party. Another tip is to have a gratitude party. That feeling sad is okay. It's part of being human. There are times when our emotions really get in our way. That's when we need a mental declutter. And when we get emotionally stuck, our first instinct may be to shove down our feelings or to lash out. That there's other ways forward that's both good for you and for others, that are respectful of our own emotions, our own well-being, and helpful for managing them effectively, without ignoring our feelings or ignoring the self-doubt or ignoring the mental clutter, that we can learn to work with them in more positive ways, allowing us to gain relief and wisdom from them. So the goal is not to run from negative emotions or negative thoughts, or pursue only the good, feel-good ones. That our goal is to be able to shift, experience all of them, and shift, being able to learn from them. And when needed, to move easily from one emotional state into another one. That we all experience both positive and negative emotions that rise up in response to our experience. And science is clear that these help us stay safe, healthy and happy. That some emotions are contagious and they can spread to those around us. If we're more able to manage things like fear, sadness and worry, and nurture feelings of happiness, excitement or gratitude, that we will shine others' crowns, that we will affect other people around us in positive ways. So of course, no one can expect to feel good all the time. It's more about recognizing when you're stuck, that our emotions are too intense or lasting too long, or really starting to restrict your sense of a positive outlook. And nudging ourselves is shining our own crown and decluttering some of the thoughts. While we can't always control the things that happen to us, and things can be difficult and emotions can be out of control, but rehashing the same things, the same ways over and over again, and having that mental clutter drains our energy. That our emotions can be managed in the sense of with loving kindness and awareness. That our stress can be nurtured. That our gratitude and our positivity can be heightened. So we can create space for the positive. We can create space for joy. We can create space for clarity. And sometimes it's as simple that we just need to focus on our breath. So with today, we've talked about many tips. That one of the most effective ways that we carry around with us is our breath. So if you'd like to try this, to re-shine or buff up your crown, taking a moment to close your eyes and take 3 deep breaths. And just letting your thoughts settle. That our slow breathing tells our brain, tells our nervous system, I'm safe. That our nervous system responds by lowering stress hormones. Let's give it another try. We're going to try inhaling for 6 and exhaling for 6. Can you notice the shift? Possibly trying it again. That our breath is the quickest way to signal throughout our body to be present. So let's talk about something that's very powerful about our breathing. It's breathing through our nose. Many of us habitually breathe through our mouth, but the nose is designed to be our primary breathing tool. It filters, it warms and pressurizes air before it reaches our lungs and allows us to extract about 20% more oxygen per breath compared to mouth breathing. So it is a very effective tool to shine our own crown. Very effective when we slow the breath down. So why is it that it works? Why is it allowing us to calm the mental clutter? And how does it benefit you? That simply slowing down your breath, you can actually get more clarity and calm by shining your own crown. By slowing your breath, as I've mentioned, it's letting the brain know I am safe. That it lowers the stress hormones and shifts into a state of relaxation. That it's referred to as vagal toning. That as we extend your exhale, breathing in for, let's say, a count of 3 this time, and then exhaling for a count of 6. That this might signal to your body to unwind even further, to become more present, to quieten the mental clutter. So there's lots of different techniques, different numbers to count to, different lengths of inhale to exhale. That the experiment is for you. Which one is more effective? Which one aligns more to you? And to first learn about the different styles of breathing. That there's many ways in which to slow down your breath and to turn your focus. So when you slow your breath, you just don't calm your nervous system. You'll also allow your body to extract oxygen more efficiently. And the best part, it rids you of mind clutter. That the breathing shouldn't feel forced. It should feel smooth, easy and nourishing. And if you'd like to, we'll try another one. But if at any point you feel like you're struggling, just slow down even more. That you'll find your rhythm. So let's practice another for our decluttering. For the next few moments, we're going to breathe through our nose and we're going to count to 6 and then breathe out through our nose to a count of 6. So you don't need to be sitting still. You can do this while walking around. You can do this while washing dishes or going about your day. But let's give it a try, because the goal is to train the body, to train the mind, and to effectively use tools and practice them for when we really need them. when we've elevated or we find that our brain and thoughts have gone into overwhelm. So let's breathe in for a count of 6 through the nose. Breathe out for a count of 6. Just continuing in your own time, finding your own rhythm. That the goal is to train your body to breathe this way naturally without having to think about it. Over time, your breath will slow down on its own, continuing with your counting if you wish, and it helps you stay more relaxed and more energized throughout the day. Just paying attention to the gentle rise and fall of your breath. Feel the air moving in, the air moving out, and noticing any subtle shifts in your mind. That you might make your breathing cyclical, like a wave, so that there's a smooth transition between inhales and exhales. That research shows that lung capacity is one of the strongest predictors of longevity. The bigger and more efficient your lungs, the longer and healthier your life. And the best way to breathe slow and steady is the mental clutter starts to slow. That you don't need a complex technique to transform your well-being. That we don't need complex changes and shifts to flip the script. That there's small, simple shifts, like breathing slower through your nose and extending your exhale. That there's profound differences in bringing you to your senses. That the mental clutter and the self-doubt is all part of being human. So the techniques and tips that I shared with you today, please give it a try and see how it feels to take control of your breath, possibly control of your environment, possibly shifting the perception or the wording. And we might be able to alleviate that feeling of being stuck. That we might be able to have a mental reset button by short processes of focusing on our breath, shifting to a positive mindset, flipping the script, that changing our energy in changing our environment, that it's just about reminding ourselves that we can calm our nerves, that we can boost our confidence, and we can bring us back to the present moment. That it's a reminder that we can take short phrases like challenge accepted when we want to challenge what our mind's telling us. That we can inspire ourselves by simply encouraging, I've got this, or one step at a time, or I'm learning more and more each day. The technique of a brain dump or a worry diary, write it down and keep the book handy, that when you have a thought or you have a sense of needing to get it out of your mind and putting it on paper, that this is your time to shine, that you've got this. So please give it a try and allowing yourself to feel empowered, finding what's meaningful for you, and that you might notice the shift in your mindset. like a gentle nudge in the right direction. It's not about ignoring your struggles or dampening down your feelings, but reminding yourself that you're stronger than you think, that you have these tools to handle whatever comes up. That you might have a takeaway from decluttering and shining your own crown. Could be embracing self-doubt and acknowledging that it's there and how it could be a positive way of getting us to do more. Or remembering small steps to create space for growth and joy. And I'm interested on what's one small action that you can take from today to shine your crown. Maybe it's a moment of gratitude, or simply letting go of one of the negative thoughts. That decluttering your mind is a journey, not a one-time fix. It's a practice. So keep practicing these techniques and be kind to yourself. And I hope this has been helpful in shining your crown. So thank you so much for allowing this time to sit, to listen, and hopefully share ideas. And I look forward to hearing about how you've shined your crown. Enjoy the rest of today, and thank you for sharing this time with me. Until next